When you think of Western Australia, you think of clear water, full of marine life, hundreds of kilometres of roads that lead to some of the most remote areas in Australia has to give, but just as importantly, the most western part of Australia.
And once you've done the sand bit, which I did have to flog it a bit to get up, you're straight back onto the corrugations.
This week we tackled the track out to the most western point, coming across a few minor four-wheel drive touch-ups, different varieties of fish.
Yeah. Oh, I just hooked a massive...
And schools of sharks we have never come across. Plus, stick around to the end because Maddie and I need your help for a solution. Don't forget guys, if you are enjoying the content, flick us a subscribe. We are creating videos every 2 weeks for you guys to watch. Plus, we have discount codes at some of the biggest companies around Australia, including iTech World, Undercover Australia, Drifter Camping and Four-Wheel Drive, Salty Captain, using the discount code Always Touring, and even our own quality merch for you guys to wear when you are out touring. Rightio! Good morning. Today's the day we are heading up to Steep Point, one of the most western, or the most western Australia point of the mainland, not including Hartog Island. Are you excited, Mads? Or are you just going to hide there and make breakfast?
I am very excited actually to be able to go the most westerly spot of Australia. We've made the most northerly. Westerly is today.
Yep.
And hopefully next year will be the most southerly.
Yes, all the way down in Tasmania because that's the plans for next year. Now, apologies for not making much content here at the Big Lagoon. The weather was absolutely windy and there's actually not too much to do around the area. We went for a bit of a fish, etc. yesterday. Didn't have much luck, but we are struggling with having no rubbish bag and we're putting lots of things. How annoying is it?
I have to say we did rely on the bag a fair amount.
Yeah, you don't realise you rely on something until you lose it. We've currently got rubbish everywhere in the back. We've got the snap strap in random places, all the bin bags, but make some breakfast, coffee, make our way into Denham, fill up with fuel, fill up at the water point because I'll show you where the water point is. It's one of those ones that you pay $30 and you get 50 litres of fresh drinking water. And then we'll make our way for the 3.5 hour drive all the way up to the top and we'll be staying the night there as well.
Fingers crossed there's no more damage.
I'll get a little bit excited, huh? Bit of a lazy start today as we knew the adventure ahead of us was going to be a rough yet exciting track as we head up to the most western point of Australia, one of our bucket list items. How bloody good of an idea are these tyre inflating stations at the end of a four-wheel drive track before like you enter or exit a national park? I reckon all the national parks around Australia, hey, really need to adopt this idea because it's just like we pay for these campsites every night. We're paying like, what was it, like $30 a night for both of us or something like that. And it's good to see that it is going towards something other than just conservation. Love seeing the money going into looking after the national park as well, but also thinking about the people going in and out to help look after the tracks and out of the tracks as well. Red hot. Righto, so quick pull over at the fishing and tackle joint here in Denham before we head out to Steep Point for some fishing because apparently it's some of the best fishing spots in Australia. So we dropped $100 on a couple of things, as you can see here, that we have been missing along the way. We've got some bait as well. We've got some of the mackerel we caught back the other day with some worms, pilchard, and what are we going to be catching out at Steep Point?
I hope a Spanish mackerel because apparently that's one of the top ones there to catch.
Yep, and there's heaps of school mackerel, heaps of other fish out there. Apparently it's like one of the best fishing joints in Australia, and we thought we'd just go drop a bit of money so we can make sure if we are catching fish, we can stay on.
And not catch, what is it?
Oh, eels like we did at the other joint.
Yeah, yuck.
Wait, how much to lick the week-old Mackie?
Nothing, I will not do it. Well, let's go fishing.
Alright, so for those interested, today we came from a Big Lagoon. We did everything that we did in Denham, filled up fuel, water, got all the fishing gear, and then we've made our way down here to the Useless Loop Road turnoff, where we'll be taking the gravel road all the way up here, bearing down and taking the four-wheel drive track that goes all the way up the Edelland National Park, up to Steep Point and the most western point of Australia side. We'll be showing you a couple of like the main items along the way on that four-wheel drive track to show you like where the sandy bits and the hard bits are, because I've heard mixed stories that it's hard because of the sand or because the track's in rocky condition. For us, hard four-wheel drive track is like really soft sand and things that you can get bogged in, not the rocky stuff that you have to go slow, because that just means you have to go slow and there's no risk of getting stuck.
So we're just dropping to 30 because we're just going on a bit of gravel.
As we entered the first section of the useless loop road, that was just standard, well-maintained dirt road, might we add, we were blown away by the constant change in scenery, from desert-like atmosphere that reminded us of the big desert back in Victoria, to lakes and oceans on either side of us. It was absolutely beautiful. As we noticed the terrain of the road becoming a bit harsher, right before we entered the rough and well-known tougher part of the track out to Steep Point, we came across literally acres of wildflowers that have just started to blossom, which bring out yet another piece of atmosphere on the trek out.
And when we spoke for months, what did you ever mean? How can they say that this is love when it goes like this? Get in your car and you'll need to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat. And then one random night when everything changes, you won't reply and we'll go back.
You happy with the flowers?
I am. I was really happy that we actually got to see the wildflowers this season. I thought we might miss it, but it's gorgeous.
Just like you.
Oh, stop it.
Go back to strangers.
So we've just turned off the useless loop road where we have reached the park entry and the reduced tyre pressure sign now to head out to Steep Point. We've been told to just drop down to 25-30 here, which we've already been on. And then when you get closer to the sand dunes where you've got to do a bit of a loop through soft sand, drop down to like your normal tyre pressures for your sand driving. So for us, we're going down to 20. We recommended 16, but we just know our vehicle, so we're going to pop down to 20. But the drive-in was about 70 kilometres, 80 kilometres to get here. Literally gravel, sitting on 90 to 100 the whole way. Beautiful views as we sort of went past really nice water, lake lagoons, connected to the ocean, as Maddie said, all the wildflowers out. So it's pretty beautiful, hey. Lots of emus, lots of roos and everything. Let the corrugations begin. So we just rocked up to that sand dune that I was telling you about, where you get to the sign and it tells you to drop straight down to 20 PSI, recommended 16 PSI. Full drive, as you can see, you have to go right around that dune. So I'm imagining there's gonna be some absolutely soft sand, but a nice spot to do it. Beautiful view behind me of the water and stuff like that. And Maddie's using the Flex 4x4 double accessories, as they are now known as, to deflate our tyres, and they make life so bloody easy. That probably took her about 5 minutes to do all 4 tyres. The camera doesn't quite capture it and we couldn't pull over on our way up, but this is basically a big sand dune we are going up at the moment. With corrugations in the mix, it was definitely worth airing down for, as suggested at the sign. However, we weren't losing any traction on the way up, and we did see someone with a caravan do this.
And once you've done the sand bit, which I did have to flog it a bit to get up, you're straight back onto the corrugations. Luckily, I was going to say, all I'm thinking about going over these corrugations is those 2 bushes that are like 90% worn on my front shocks, holding they can just hold on for the next 30 or 40 kilometres. Oh mate, check this out. We're about 20 minutes away from getting to Steep Point. Check out the view, this is phenomenal. Driving right along the turquoise blue water, looking out at Dirk Hartog Island over there. It seriously does not much like get better than this, eh? Fair income.
Speaking about worrying about my suspension, what happens here really shows the true spirit of the Australian outback and helping each other when you're out in the middle of nowhere.
You're lucky.
In the back of my mind for the past like 5 days, I'm waiting for something to, and then after that truck I was like, I've got to ask.
Is it squeaking like shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, well it's been squeaking for like 5,000 Ks, but
It's like you haven't done any bushes and anything like that.
oh, I know my front two bushes are going.
Yeah.
The shock is, but I booked in Perth in a week to get them replaced and
Yeah.
stuff. But they've been hanging on since Broome. But it's only so, like as you know, as a mechanic, like you booked it out for weeks and you can't just rock up and
That's it. Yeah.
so just learn as you go.
On price, but
So we just dropped past the ranger stations, come in because you got to make sure that you got all your bookings and stuff like that. And we met the ranger, Hicksy. He's been living here for, was it 2.5 years or 5 years?
5 years.
He's got more plans to stay. But I asked him if I could borrow a grease gun in case he had one handy because I haven't greased my nipples. Nah. Greased all my suspension nipples and they've just been driving me mad, squeaking. I just didn't want too much friction to happen and something to break. And he lent me his grease gun, which was so nice of him. He's such a top bloke. Flicked him 20 bucks and we're on our way, and that's now off the back of my mind. So shout out to Hicksy. Thanks, mate. Woo! Oh, I didn't realise you were filming. I'm just getting really excited over the Kells East, over the water as we're coming down here. It's just like shining, glistening turquoise blue. Like seriously, seriously, mate. Seriously.
Someone's excited, very excited about where we're staying, but this is Kells too. And oh my god.
Stop filming me. This is amazing, check it out. Look at the game, mate.
You and your magic, like infinite power. God knows I tried to resist, but you're pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. No one makes me feel like you do, and no one.
After quickly checking out our campsite, we were pretty bloody keen to get to the most western point of Australia, given we were so bloody close. But we had made it. What a milestone.
Imagine I have finally made it to the most western point here in Australia, Steep Point. I tell you what, it's bloody gorgeous. We're even going to end up staying here an extra couple of nights because of how nice it was right down by the campsites. We're going to get into some fishing, snorkeling, spearfishing. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Look, this place is just chef's kiss. The water's so flat, so blue, and it looks like it's full of fish.
And there's even whales playing out there, man.
No, there's so many. I'm hoping we might get the chance to see a killer whale on this trip though.
Oh, are they up here?
Yeah.
Gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better.
And just like that, we were straight into some fishing off the coastline of the most western point of Australia, snagged up with one of our first fish.
What'd you get there?
Look at that.
Woohoo!
Oh, the poor bastard's got another hook in it. Look, see the other hook?
Wow, so it's been done before.
Yeah. That's not a bad first fish.
Hey.
And then hooked what I thought was a giant trevally and lost it. I was bloody gutted.
Oh, I just hooked a massive fucking giant trevally. Ah, that's so annoying. I was on that for like 20 minutes. It kept dragging me along the rock and then I lost it on the rock.
So something to you guys about is how we've been keeping cool in this rooftop tent while we've been traveling Western Australia with this EverSmart evaporative cooler from Everpolar. So how does this bad boy work? Well, you can take apart the refillable canister, fill it up with water and bring it back up, and it will last 4 to 8 hours. Then plug it up by a USB-C port, which can either be run off a laptop or a battery pack. And then this digital screen at the top is where you can change your settings on the Evercooler. What you can do is you can either turn the fan all the way up to 100% or to a lower setting. Then you can visualize the ambient temperature and the temperature it's putting out. We do know there's a lot of coolers out there, but we did choose this one because it's quite petite. It actually produces a large amount of airflow, and we love the little digital setting on it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that it's USB-C and you can plug it into a battery pack, so you don't have to like wire it down into a 240 volt system as well, and it actually lasts a long time.
Well, safe to say we had such an epic day spending our time up at Steep Point, right out on those cliffs looking over the edge of Australia. We made our way back to camp for the night and we stayed at a campsite known as Kel 2, which was definitely up there with the better campsites with not many people around. Crystal clear water, no wind, and even spotted a massive school of sharks. Well, at least that's what we thought that was what they were, which is really something I had never really seen before.
Alright, well that sort of answers my question about going for a spearfish out here. We literally got the drone up because we could see some action, and there's about 30 sharks literally where I was pointing where I was going to go for a spearfish. So I've got my lure, having a flick out there just in case that there's any other sort of fish around it. But I tell you what, it's such a beautiful spot. The water's so clear, this is definitely ideal. There's lots of little fish around here, but I'm not going bloody spearfishing out there with 30 sharks around the joint. So I've just got a bit of a question for you more mechanically minded people. Obviously I only know so much, but my front right tyre on the inside of the tyre, just the inside only, has like 80% wear. I've had a recent wheel alignment and have noticed it within the last 5,000 Ks after I've had that wheel alignment. The wheel balance seems okay, I haven't got any vibrations or anything in there, but it seems to have just completely worn out. It's only on that right hand side, and I'd love to know if any of you have had those problems or you know the answer to that.